Have you ever scrolled through Tubi thinking you already know every old classic hiding in its shelves, only for something unexpected to appear? That moment when a lost film suddenly shows up feels like finding treasure in plain sight. This month, Tubi quietly slipped in titles that fans have searched for across decades. Some vanished because of rights troubles, others faded into legend, and a few, well, you will see soon enough. The Silent Partner, 1978. Here is a movie that starts with a simple idea and turns it into something sharp, clever, and unforgettable. The Silent Partner follows a quiet bank teller played by Elliot Gould, who discovers that a thief plans to rob his branch during the holiday rush. Instead of panicking, he decides to flip the situation in a way almost nobody expects. What begins as a calm setup quickly turns into a tense game of strategy, timing, and deception. Christopher Plummer delivers one of the most chilling performances of his entire career. He plays the thief with a calm expression that hides something far more determined underneath. Every scene between Gould and Plummer feels like a duel made of looks, pauses, and decisions that could go very wrong for either man. The movie balances suspense with humor in a way very few thrillers of this era ever attempted. For years, The Silent Partner disappeared from mainstream rotation. Rights issues and limited print availability made it a challenge for collectors to even find a clean copy. Seeing it return on a major platform feels like a small victory for people who love clever storytelling. This is one of those rare movies that proves you can build massive tension with simple tools, sharp writing, and characters you cannot ignore. A true hidden gem. Mikey and Nicky, 1976. There are friendship stories, and then there is Mikey and Nicky. Elaine May directed this raw, unfiltered look into one long night shared between two men who trust each other and fear each other at the same time. John Cassavetes plays Nicky, a man on the run who believes danger is closing in on him. Peter Falk plays Mikey, his lifelong friend who comes to help, even though his motives are not as clear as they first seem. Elaine May shot this film in a very unusual way for its time. She used long takes, improvisation, and natural lighting, capturing real tension between two actors who knew how to bring emotional honesty to every moment. The result feels almost documentary-like. You are not watching characters. You are witnessing two people break down layer by layer. Their conversations wander, circle back, and explode without warning. The studio struggled with May's approach, and the production famously battled over budget, schedule, and editing. Because of this, the film barely received the attention it deserved when it was released. Over time, it turned into an underground favorite among directors and actors who admired its fearless style. For decades, clean versions were nearly impossible to find. Its return on streaming means new viewers can finally experience a movie that feels real, messy, and unforgettable. A masterpiece that took far too long to be appreciated. Charley Varrick, 1973. If you want to see a crime thriller that moves with precision, energy, and a surprising sense of dark humor, Charley Varrick is the movie you have been waiting for. Directed by Don Siegel, the same filmmaker behind Dirty Harry and Escape from Alcatraz, this film follows Walter Matthau in a role that is far more serious and layered than the comedies he is known for. Matthau plays a small-time pilot who pulls off a quick robbery that accidentally targets the wrong people. From that point on, the story becomes a chase where every decision matters. Charley is smart enough to stay one step ahead, but not without cost. Siegel uses open landscapes, quiet pauses, and bursts of urgency to build tension. Joe Don Baker appears as one of the most memorable pursuers of the decade, playing a relentless investigator who treats the hunt as a personal mission. For many years, Charley Varrick lived in the shadows. It never received the same attention as other 70s crime movies, yet directors often cite it as a perfect example of lean, controlled storytelling. Fans spent decades searching for quality releases because the original prints were stuck in distribution struggles. Now that it has resurfaced, new audiences can see how a movie with no flashy tricks can still deliver a thrilling, tightly built story. This one earns its reputation with pure craftsmanship. King of Marvin Gardens, 1972. King of Marvin Gardens is part dream, part tragedy, and part slow-motion hurricane. Directed by Bob Rafelson, this film pairs Jack Nicholson and Bruce Dern as two brothers who could not be more different. Nicholson plays a quiet radio storyteller who drifts through life with calm resignation. Dern plays a man who believes he is on the edge of a grand business deal that will change his future forever. Together, they form a duo caught between loyalty and illusion. The movie is set in a fading Atlantic city during the cold months, where empty boardwalks and dim lights create a haunting atmosphere. The visuals are icy and quiet, mirroring the emotional distance between the characters. Nicholson gives one of his most understated performances, showing what happens when a man carries disappointment like a silent weight. Dern, on the other hand, bursts with restless energy, believing hope is just one step away, even when reality says otherwise. When it debuted, audiences did not know how to categorize it. It was too quiet for mainstream tastes and too emotional for viewers expecting typical 70s drama. Over the years, it gained a loyal following among film fans who loved its mood, honesty, and visual poetry. Because of complicated rights issues, it faded from circulation for a long time. Seeing it reappear today feels like discovering a forgotten photograph filled with beauty and sorrow. The Stuntman, 1980. If you enjoy movies that play with reality and illusion, The Stuntman is a wild ride that refuses to slow down. Directed by Richard Rush, this film tells the story of a young man who accidentally wanders onto a film set and becomes a stunt performer under the guidance of a charming but unpredictable director played by Peter O'Toole. What follows is a clever blend of comedy, drama, and surreal twists that blur the line between real life and movie magic. O'Toole gives a performance so bold and entertaining that it earned him an Academy Award nomination. He plays the director as a creative whirlwind, someone who can inspire genius one moment and stir confusion the next. The production scenes feel chaotic on purpose, showing how demanding and unpredictable filmmaking can be. While the story is fun, it also explores how people hide behind roles when they fear being truly seen. The Stuntman struggled with distribution and sat on the shelf for years before getting a proper release. Even after it launched, many viewers found it difficult to access because prints and releases were limited. Over time, critics re-examined it and realized just how inventive and daring it was. Its arrival on Tubi feels like a long overdue spotlight for a film that celebrates imagination, challenge, and the strange charm of controlled chaos. Sorcerer, 1977. Some movies gain a reputation for chaos, but Sorcerer practically carved its name into legend. Directed by William Friedkin, the filmmaker behind The French Connection, this film follows four desperate men who take on a dangerous job deep in the jungle. Their mission is simple on paper: transport unstable cargo across rough terrain. In reality, every mile becomes a test of nerve, will, and sheer luck. Nothing about this movie feels safe or predictable. Friedkin insisted on shooting in real, unforgiving environments. Rivers that rose without warning, bridges that shook in the wind, mud roads that swallowed trucks whole. The cast and crew worked under intense conditions that pushed everyone to the edge. You can feel that pressure in every frame. The famous rope bridge sequence is so intense that viewers still talk about it almost 50 years later. It is not flashy. It is just pure, honest tension filmed with complete commitment. When Sorcerer premiered, it had the misfortune of opening the same year as Star Wars. Audiences were not looking for a gritty, slow-burning tale about survival. The movie disappeared quickly and spent decades in release trouble because of its competing ownership rights. Only recently has it been restored and re-evaluated as one of the greatest films of the 70s. Seeing it available again feels like watching a forgotten titan take its rightful place. This is filmmaking that grabs your attention and refuses to let go. Seconds, 1960. Their life. Night Moves, 1975. Night Moves is one of the most quietly devastating thrillers of its decade. Directed by Arthur Penn, the film stars Gene Hackman as a private investigator who becomes involved in a case that seems simple at first, but grows more tangled with every step. Hackman plays the role with a mix of frustration, curiosity, and emotional weariness. He is a man who can solve puzzles for others but struggles to understand his own life. The story unfolds with slow, deliberate tension. Clues lead to more clues, but none of them bring clear answers. The Florida coast becomes a key setting, filled with calm spaces that hide deeper troubles. Melanie Griffith appears in an early role, adding another layer of intrigue to a film already filled with moral gray areas. Every scene feels textured, like you could reach out and touch the humidity in the air. Night Moves was released during a time when audiences expected thrillers to be straightforward. This one refused to follow a neat path. Critics admired its tone and intelligence, but mainstream viewers overlooked it, leaving it to be rediscovered years later. Today, it is praised for its honesty, atmosphere, and unwillingness to offer easy answers. Seeing it return to streaming gives new viewers a chance to experience a classic that stays quiet, but hits hard. Night Moves is not about big moments. It is about the slow unraveling of a man who no longer trusts what he sees. The Pawnbroker, 1964. Some films feel like they were carved from real experience, and The Pawnbroker is one of them. Directed by Sidney Lumet, this drama follows a quiet shop owner in New York who carries emotional wounds he refuses to show. Rod Steiger delivers a performance filled with stillness, restraint, and depth. Instead of dramatic speeches, the power of the story comes from the quiet moments where you can sense everything he is holding back. Lumet uses close shots and rhythmic editing to place viewers directly inside the character's inner world. The city around him is loud and busy, but he remains closed off, moving through each day as if on autopilot. The supporting cast adds lifelike warmth and frustration, showing how people try to reach him without understanding why he keeps his distance. The film's structure emphasizes how past grief can shape present choices. When it premiered, The Pawnbroker was celebrated for its bold storytelling and emotional honesty. Over time, however, it became surprisingly difficult to access. Limited releases, damaged copies, and scattered international rights kept it out of public view for years. Its quiet return on streaming gives modern audiences a chance to revisit a film that remains powerful without ever relying on loud moments. The Pawnbroker is a story about memory, healing, and the quiet strength it takes to face what hurts the most. The Friends of Eddie Coyle, 1973. If you want to see a crime drama that feels real from the first frame, The Friends of Eddie Coyle delivers that authenticity with skill. Directed by Peter Yates, the film stars Robert Mitchum in one of his most grounded roles. He plays Eddie, a man trying to survive in a world where every choice feels like a corner turning in on itself. Mitchum portrays Eddie not as a legend, but as a tired man who wants a peaceful life but cannot escape the life he knows. The movie is set in the Boston area, and its locations are not polished or glamorous. They are diners, parking lots, and back rooms where small decisions carry big consequences. Yates shoots the city with honesty, letting the cold atmosphere become part of the story. The supporting cast brings incredible depth, making the world feel lived in and unpredictable. During the 70s, many crime films focused on action and style. This one focused on people, choices, and the weight of responsibility. Critics admired its authenticity, but it never received the wide attention it deserved. Years passed, and the movie became a collector's favorite that was nearly impossible to find in good condition. With its return, audiences can finally see how a quiet film about one man's hopes and mistakes became one of the most respected dramas of its decade. The Missouri Breaks, 1976. You do not often see two of cinema's biggest stars wandering through a strange, unpredictable Western, but The Missouri Breaks makes that pairing unforgettable. Directed by Arthur Penn, this film features Jack Nicholson as a horse thief and Marlon Brando as a clever, unpredictable regulator sent to stop him. Their dynamic is unpredictable, engaging, and at times hypnotizing. Every scene feels like a creative duel between two performers who knew how to take risks. The Western landscape plays a major role in the story. The wide fields, dusty paths, and quiet hills create a sense of vastness where anything can happen. Nicholson brings his signature sharp energy, while Brando moves through scenes with calm unpredictability, adding humor and weight in equal measure. Brando's choices in this film became legendary, ranging from gentle whispers to surprising spurts of intensity. When it came out, viewers were unsure what to make of its unusual tone. It was not a classic Western. It was not a pure drama. It existed in a space all its own. Over time, this once misunderstood film developed a strong following as people recognized its creative boldness. For many years, it was rarely seen due to limited releases. Now that it is available again, new audiences can experience a Western that refuses to follow familiar paths. The Missouri Breaks is unpredictable, memorable, and far more daring than most films of its era. So, there you have it. 15 rare classics that Tubi slipped into its library without fanfare, each one carrying decades of history, mystery, and long-lost charm. These are the kind in a world of endless scrolling. Which hidden treasure caught your eye first? Tell us below. Hit like if you found something new, share it with someone who loves a good surprise, and subscribe for more forgotten gems waiting to be found.